Hello, friends. Scott Fischer with Senior Placement Pro University. I'm going to have a conversation this morning with a friend of mine, now almost 10 years, Jason Buckingham from the Senior Place team. Jason and his partner, JD, and their team have been providing premier software for referral and placement agents for almost 10 years. He and I met probably in the spring of 2017. Welcome, Jason. Good to see you, man.
Great to see you again, Scott. Yeah, it has been a long time. It's been great connecting with you over these last several years.
Yeah, I would totally agree. You've transformed my business. When I met you, we were still doing business on notepads and business cards in a binder and a couple of senior housing guides in the front seat of the car. Wow, 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 wow. Well, tell everybody a little bit about Senior Place, how you and JD maybe, what was your inspiration to start this project and kind of where you are today?
Yeah, so 10 years ago, I was working at Microsoft. I was an engineer working on the Outlook team. Loved my job there, but my grandmother had gone through the moving into assisted living process, and it was a stressful process for my parents, my aunts and uncles. I could feel it, and they weren't sure where they should go. And so after my grandmother got settled, I was like, what else can we do here? What else could we have done instead? And that's when I started researching. I learned about the placement industry. I didn't know about senior placement referral agencies at all. And so I started calling before I went into work. I was West Coast time. I'd call people on the East Coast before my day. Hey, what do you do for software? What do you wish you had? How do you wish it worked? And based on 40 plus of those conversations, started designing it. JD was a friend. I knew he was a great person to partner with. And the two of us started working on this. And eventually we were able to grow enough to leave our day jobs and keep growing. We now have got 10 people working at Senior Place and well over 1,000 placement agency or placement advisors on our platform at this point.
1,000 now.
1,000 advisors, yeah, representing about 300 companies. So yeah, it continues to
Wow,
grow.
man, 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 man. Well, for those of you that are considering entering into this space as a referral and placement specialist, a senior advisor, we have lots of names, don't we, Jason? We have a lot of references to what we do. But in terms of managing your senior living providers, managing your referral partners, and managing your flows, I don't know of a better software program. You guys have designed this. You've designed it with us as partners, with input all along the way. You've had ideas, and then um, maybe talk about that because that's how this has evolved for you.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, we do have competitors in this space at this point. We were one of the first to get started, but there are three or four other software platforms out there for placement. And we're very proud of the fact that when somebody signs up with us, the only reason people ever leave is if they go out of business. Not exclusively, but pretty much that's almost always the case. Whereas from our competitors, we've had numerous people switch from our competitors that they thought it was going to be better, and they sign up, and 2 months in, they realize how much better Senior Place is than anything else out there, and they're usually stuck in a contract, but they are willing many times to double pay for the other software because they have to pay out their contract and switch to us as well. So we continue to listen to customer feedback. We talk to customers regularly. We have weekly team meetings where we go over feedback presented from any of our customers in the last week. We obviously can't build every single thing, but we are constantly improving. We're bringing on another engineer right now so that we can keep improving the system even more quickly.
Wow. Jason, you remember you and I first talking about doing this project back in COVID. I was looking to use my creativity. I think creativity is seeing a need and now applying the best of yourself to bring solution. Many of you know, and if you don't know, I had a long run in the advocacy and in the industry, helping bring professional standards, best practices. I was a founding board member and president of our local Phoenix chapter we call Passers. And later in 2017, I was on the national board of directors for the launch of the NPRA, the National Placement and Referral Alliance. This industry, unregulated and unlicensed, and it causes so many problems in so many ways because you have everybody doing it their own way. Everybody and it can create quite a collision. And there's a lot of failures and collisions that people have with this business because they don't have any structure or foundation or backbone to it. The NPRA, with our original guidance, established a national set of best practices and a code of ethics. We said stuff like you had to have a proper intake process, right? You had to visit and tour your clients. You had to visit the facilities that you were referring them to in advance. There were certain things we were building into this, Jason, so that we were training people or giving people a roadmap to success and best acceptable practice in the industry. I
Yeah, and it's
imagine.
got some of those things you mentioned. Senior Place really helps with the intake. It's got an intake that's built in that aligns with most of those goals, and it's customizable if there are other things somebody wants to add. We have electronic signatures to manage your referral agreements with communities, um, and disclosure laws in states like Arizona where you need a disclosure. It's easy to send out through our system, and then you can track which communities you've toured, how recently you've toured them, all of those things to know. Hey, I've been in that community. I was there 3 months ago, especially in states where there's lots of the care homes or assisted living homes. Easy to see those, manage those, and they're all preloaded for you.
In my work, I was really, because I don't have any corporate affiliation. I'm what we would call an independent, right? And my mission was to build a business to support new individuals that want to launch into this space using the roadmap we've outlined at the NPRA, and then bring in the best partners. Jason, you were the first person I called, along with Jeff Schmidt over at the Hub International, for business liability insurance, to be a part of this, because if we're going to help lead and guide individuals into this business, I want them pointed to the best practices, and I want them pointed to the best, um, partners to protect their business, manage their data, mitigate their risk, and that's what we're offering here in the Senior Placement Pro. When you decide to come on board with us, in lieu of buying a franchise or in lieu of buying a package elsewhere, you get a 1 year relationship right up front with Jason. As people, I promise you, once you get started, you won't stop. But we want to give people the best chance at being successful in their business.
Yeah,
Um,
and Scott, over the years, I mean, you've had some training programs that you've done, and we've referred people to you because your training has always been excellent. That's why we're excited to be partners with Senior Placement Pro. When someone takes your training, they've been more successful with us. Like when I do a demo with someone who's getting started and they don't know what's next, I almost don't even want them to sign up for our software unless they've gone through a training or unless they really have a background. Now, some people have a background where they've done things that are so closely related. And I'm not talking real estate. I'm talking people who have worked in communities where they're already bringing people into the assisted living community. People like that often can be successful without it. But if they don't have that very specific background, I'm looking at them and I'm like, they're not going to succeed. They need training. They need to know what they're doing. And so when I send them to you and then they come back and end up using our software maybe months later or whatever time frame works for them, it ends up being a much better relationship between us and them because your training has equipped them so much better than someone who just comes to us cold.
Thank you. I've really thought this through, and we've revised it over the years, right? Just like your business, I've been revising this content to really dial it in so that as people finish this aspect of training with me, and we prepare them for launching their business, that they've got the foundation. They understand what it takes to become a professional agent. They understand the history, the best practices. They understand how to do an intake. They learn some new language along the way. They learn how to deal with families, because families have dynamics. All of them do. We teach you how to work with senior living communities, and then partnering, of course, with Senior Place. You've got all that catalog for them inside the software, so they can really customize their entries and their offerings. We teach you how to make the phone ring, and we teach you some additional operational, um, responsibilities, requirements in terms of like, invoicing and collecting, and
Mm.
um, how to manage your books a little bit, things like that. So I really try to have a broad foundation for people. From your perspective, why do people fail at this? They come in and they get out. We've all seen it.
Yeah, I mean, the number one reasons or number one top reasons that I've seen people fail, they think it's going to be easy. There's
Mm,
often low barrier to entry. And now somebody signing up for Senior Placement Pro University are committing a little bit more and they realize that they're going to make a commitment. But those who don't, who are like, hey, there's not a whole lot here. I can just do it on my own. I can just dive right in. They have no idea what they're doing, and they think they're just going to magically print money helping seniors. There's a silver tsunami. We'll just make lots of money. And the truth is, you have to be willing to work hard, and you have to have a little bit of education. So often people are just, I'm going to do it, and it's not going to be hard. And 3 months in, 6 months in, we get an email from them. They're like, this is harder than I thought. I haven't gotten any business. I haven't helped any families yet. So that's really the top reason. And
Yeah.
then, of
Yeah.
course, marketing is always a challenge in any industry.
Yeah, I think making the phone ring is just about as hard as anything in this business to differentiate yourself. As you have an industry like this that is unprotected, unlicensed, um, largely unregulated. Any and everybody comes to the table, right? So it can feel crowded or it can feel congested in terms of doing your business, and unless you develop those individuation individualized what do I want to say? Until you develop some individuation in between you and the rest of the community, and you have your unique voice to the community, that's really where I think how people get that attraction from their community, local referral partners, professionals in the community, even the discharge planners from the hospital. That's really hard business to do. Is to earn the trust of those other professionals and start building a professional network.
Yeah, that is where people fail all the time is they just can't do that. And then so often it's a lot more tangible to go visit assisted living communities and feel like you're being productive, but you're just being busy. And you really have to build referral relationships. And I know, Scott, you've got some material that goes through how to be successful on the marketing side.
Yeah, we spend a good couple hours just on that issue alone, and how to dive into and working with attorneys and financial advisors and some of those other professional industry verticals, Jason, where people have specific questions and languages, and I give them tips on how to open those doors and develop those relationships. I've had some professional relationships, more than 2 decades. I opened my placement agency in 2003 when I walked away from my healthcare space. And don't tell, it wasn't easy. There was nobody giving guidelines or anything. It was just one day I was a nurse and one day I was now a placement agent. So it was pretty wacky. What would you,
Absolutely.
Hey, what would you advise people to that are a couple of top priorities if you're considering um, getting into this space? I know people think there's some low hanging fruit and they can make a quick buck here. Maybe even hear some of that and some of these other offerings. And I'm with you. This is hard work, but you're also doing, I think, sacred work. You're entering into a space where people are in crisis, and I think it requires long-term success, also requires a good heart, the
Mhm.
right motive and stuff. So would you talk about any of that from the people
Yeah,
that you know in
absolutely.
this business?
So if you're going to be successful long term, you have to be getting into it because you care, because it is hard work. Um, that's how I got into this space. My grandmother, as I said earlier, went through this. So if you're getting into it, get into it because you care, because you want to see families have a good outcome. You want to see grandma, whoever it is, the older adult, make a move and not have to make three moves in their last year of life because they went to the wrong community. You want to see them go to a place that's such a good fit for them that they're going to thrive in their final years. Have that heart, that compassion, the patience with families who are under immense stress, because you're going to deal with a lot of families that are very stressed out. So you need to get into it for those reasons. That will help sustain you in the long haul, not because you're trying to make money easily. But then once you get into it, also go in with your eyes wide open that you can have all those things. I've seen people who are super compassionate, who care deeply, who are patient with families, who do know all the assisted living communities in their area because they put in the work, and yet they still fail because they don't know how to really run their business. They don't know how to really advise a family. They don't know how to make the phone ring. And so you do need to have that heart. If you don't have that as a starting point, then
Mhm.
honestly go look for another industry. But if you do have that compassion, you care, you want to see good outcomes, it's a great place to be. and then go figure out how to do it successfully. And I think Senior Placement Pro is a great way to figure out how to do that.
I've been telling people in the class, thank you for that. I appreciate that because you could go be, and you mentioned it, you can be transactional all you want in this business, and there are people that are. That says you can't, but I'm much more concerned with outcomes. I want to teach people about how to find the right outcomes. Our process at the NPRA was designed to guide people to find the right matches, not just get the deal done, right? I heard somebody describe our business once and it just made my stomach turn. It's like, oh, we're like Match.com for seniors. I'm like, I'm way more than Match.com for seniors. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's not a right way to describe what we do. We are advisors and trusted
Trusted
guides for people.
consultant. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, before we wrap up and kind of bring this in for a close on the conversation again, I really appreciate your time on this and your friendship for all these years. Where do you see this going, man? For the individual that wants to come in and get involved in this industry, they don't want to buy a franchise, or maybe they're considering it. Why? Where do you see the future going, and why would you do a program like this for yourself as opposed to buying another corporate brand?
Yeah, and I think there are times, and there are for some people, buying a franchise is the right thing. I think franchises will be keeping you accountable financially for a long haul, and that can be really motivating. Um, Now, going through Senior Placement Pro University allows you to truly own your own business. I know with a franchise, you do own your own location, but there are some limits in that. Um, I think it's you just need to decide which camp you're in. If you want to be in a place where you have no limits, where you have the complete freedom and own your own business, and you have a little bit less initial overhead, you have quite a bit less initial overhead, and you have less ongoing overhead. You don't have to pay royalties. Now, again, there are some people that works really well for, and franchises can be a great opportunity. You just have to decide which camp you're in and what you want to be under. Now, Senior Placement Pro University will provide ongoing connection and support and network. If you sign up for Senior Place, going through Senior Placement Pro University, you get that first year included. You get a network, a private Facebook group of Senior Place customers as well, where you can network and have resources. We have monthly webinars where you get to connect with people. And our customers have even didn't know each other except through the Senior Place community, have met in person when they're traveling and talk business. They've set up separate masterminds where they connect with each other and share strategies, how they're doing things in their parts of the country. So you will get some community. But certainly there is a market where signing up for a franchise might be the right thing for you. But if you're looking at that and you're hesitating on the royalties, on the limitations, Senior Placement Pro University is a great alternative that gives you all the freedom there. So I think it's something well worth considering and looking into both options and seeing what's going to make the most sense for you and how you want to do business.
Well, thank you, Jason. And if you're considering this or you're seeing this, we invite you to give us a ring and check us out. Have further conversations with myself personally, with Jason about how to put your senior placement business on the map, how to do it successfully, and get the right software integration into your business. I think makes all the difference in the world. Jason, I couldn't do this without you and JD. I can't wait to see you guys in August again. It was a great trip that JD and I took last year. I'm looking forward to doing it with you this year in Denver. So I'll talk to you more between now and then, of course. But thanks for doing this, and we'll be in touch. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott. It's great talking with you again.
Talk to you soon.